Is somebody controlling the mics? Or are they all just on? They're all just on.
Yeah. So say if they're green like that, they're on, correct?
It's green, it's on.
Someone's going to say action. Okay. All right. Welcome. It's Monday, February 24th, 2025. This is the Board of Equalization and Review of Buncombe County, North Carolina. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Per the state of North Carolina general statutes, the Board of Equalization must convene to hear appeals for property owners or their representatives. The duties of the board can be found in the North Carolina statutes 105-322. I'd like to now ask everyone if they would turn their cell phones either off or down. We can't hear it during the meeting. That would include me. All right, this year we have new board members. They are myself, Randall Barnett, serving currently as the chairperson. Dr. Glenda Weinert is serving as the vice chairperson. And we have Preston Edwards. And we have Phil Blake. And not here yet, but hopefully will come in, Katarina Leger. All right. First, we're going to approve the minutes that were from January 14th, 2025. Have all members read the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Are they okay?
Yes.
Everything's okay except for one misspelling of one name. Been corrected already. All those vote to approve the minutes, say aye.
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 All right, they've been approved. All right, today we have 4 appeals and requests for several late exemption applications. Does any of the board members have any conflict for any of the appeals being heard today?
No.
No conflicts. Okay. So the agenda has the 4 in order, but we're going to take somebody that's here presently to go first. Oh, here she comes. It's okay. We now welcome Katarina Leger.
Leger, yeah. Thank
Leger?
you.
Leger. Okay. Have you read the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And I attended virtually.
Yes. Or do you approve them?
Yes.
Okay. Add her name to the approval list. Okay.
Thank you.
And today we have 4, and we're going to start off with Tipperary Sales Incorporated, doing business as Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. So who do we have representing? I believe you're online.
Yes,
Ma'am?
hi. Yes, good afternoon. I'm Heather Johnson. I'm the CFO.
Okay. Before we start, I have to do a swearing or an oath. Okay. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you are giving in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Okay. At this moment or when they step to the... Okay, get it out of the way. All right, right now. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you are giving in the proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Okay. Taken care of, sir. All right. We have the documents that you have submitted to the county. You may now proceed with your explanation and additional information pertinent to the appeal.
Yes, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you today. As I stated in my written appeal, the prior senior accountant who was here for a number of years left in June of 2023. I've only been here, a little over 2 years now. And so when I went, in January of last year to file the property tax returns, I noticed that nothing had been previously filed, to your county. And so I went ahead and did that, immediately. And then, kind of in researching it further, it looks like she never initiated the filings there at all. And so, I suspect, that she just did not know that she needed to proactively make that filing for the property tax. And so we've got everything straight. We promptly, made the filings, paid all the taxes, and everything has been paid and it's now up to date. And we've already, obviously filed for this year as well. So I would like to request a payment of the penalties.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to hear from the county assessor's office next.
So the Buncombe County Assessor's Office received the 2024 audit listing form, and it was timely. And this was the first listing that had been received from the business. A notice of discovery was sent. Originally it was for tax year 2019 through 2022. There was an oversight and that was amended or revised. The notice was sent to add tax year 2023. So the total for years 2019 to 2023, and the late penalty is $9,910.70. And at this time, the board county recommendation is that the penalties that were assessed are assessed correctly.
Okay. Do we have any questions from anybody about this? We can address the appellant or the county.
So may I ask you a question, ma'am?
Of course.
Sorry, I apologize. If you would go through the explanation again, I could barely hear. I understand that there was a change in the CFO and then the proper documentation preceding you is what I heard was not accurately provided and then was discovered through the county discovery. Is that
So there wasn't a CFO in place when I started here in November of 22. There was just a senior accountant and she had been here for, I think, almost 30 years. More bookkeeper than, accountant, I guess, from that aspect. And so when we opened our store at the location there, I think she just didn't know to reach out and proactively about the property tax filings, and so once we discovered that those filings had not been made, we got it all current, but yeah, it looks like she had never filed anything there.
And we discovered it after they filed.
Yeah, we went ahead and filed the year and that year. And then like the discovery notice and then looking back and there was nothing. She had never even, back a few years, unfortunately. So.
have they ever received a penalty or been granted any relief of penalty?
In the past, right?
Ever, I
Ever.
guess is my question, because typically,
No, because the 2024 listing was the first listing filed.
yes,
So these would be all of the penalties.
for
For
each of
multiple
the
years.
years prior to, okay.
Yes, these are penalties for 2019 and 2023. And because they haven't been waived at this point, there is another way for this.
Does this happen very often? Someone never claims it, then they do claim it, and then you discover all the past.
Yes, under North Carolina General Statute 105-12, there's a section F, and it's called the presumption. And it allows the county to look at the current year plus 5 prior years and go back and assess property tax due along
For just 5 years?
for the current plus 5, but not tax.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing her, but just from our perspective, to my knowledge, we haven't received anything prior to the true up of these filings. We didn't see any other prior notices or anything, or notifications, in our records.
Probably because there were no notifications because they haven't filed.
Right.
Once 2024 was filed, then discoveries were made.
Yes, it seemed like it was an unknown issue on both sides until that filing, that I made last year.
My only question to you would be, you never received your business property tax listing form
I
prior?
can't, yeah, I can't speak to that. I wouldn't think so because I will say Terry was very good about if she received something, she was very quick to act on it and, add it to the schedule. So I suspect that she didn't, or else it would have been filed, but I can't say that for certain.
Do you know if forms were sent to the business?
The 2024 was the year that was filed, and it was actually filed on, it looks like the file that, or the form that would come from our website. So it's not a pre-printed form like we
Okay.
would normally send out.
Okay.
So
Yes, I tried to do the filings
was it
online.
in 2019 and 2020 and
It would not have been.
I'm curious about your Heather Johnson.
Yes,
Yes, yeah, okay. The signature was Heather Marin or Morrison?
yes, I got married in April of last year.
That was my guess.
Just to make it a little more confusing.
I was hoping there weren't two Heathers, but I was figuring you were the same Heather.
Yes.
Okay.
So please forgive my ignorance in this question, but are we allowed to I have a thought, but I'm not sure whether we do that.
So what you can do is you can close the testimony part of the hearing,
Okay.
and then you all can move on to deliberations and deliberate and discuss what you want to do. So you have two options. You can either just discuss it right away, or somebody can make a motion to either approve or deny the applicant's request and then discuss and then ultimately vote on the motion.
What has the county done in the past when this happened? During discoveries?
During discoveries, the penalties are assessed.
They are? Okay. Good. I can see the deadlines. I was ready for those,
Yes.
but the discoveries is different.
Yes, the discoveries are, they are assessed.
So here's my thought. It appears to me that there were errors, unintentional errors on both sides. We didn't notify, they didn't submit, and it was found in discovery. And I know that even in other history of tax debt, like with the IRS, for example, you can request a penalty waiver if it's a first time or
Yes.
so.
But the 105-381 will be the statute that you have to adhere to.
And we're not allowed to waive penalty?
Under 105-381, there are remedies.
So under 105-381, there are three reasons that a tax refund can be requested. Now, I'm trying to make sure that I look this up and give the correct advice. So because I want to make sure that, is there a difference between a request for a refund versus a waiver of a penalty? Because 105 through 81 talks about refunds. I believe that this is an application for a waiver of a penalty. So I just want to, if y'all could just give me a quick moment to
Sure.
make sure that
Well, and
this is
just,
kind of new for me too, so please bear with me.
just to be clear, I believe the tax was due and should be assessed, but I think that there is an opportunity to consider a different approach to the penalty.
Right.
I
Waiving
do-
the penalty because they didn't know.
Well, I do want to point out that 105, 304 with the personal property, the duty is not on the county
It's not.
to go to the taxpayer. The duty is on the taxpayer to report the taxes. And that is pretty clear. The county does not go out and look for, it's not like, ha, you haven't found me. The taxpayer has a duty to report their personal property. If they don't, they're subject to the penalties and stuff when and if the county finds out about it. And that's why you have the discovery statute.
Sure. I.
So
So this bill is only for personal property? It's not for real property?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any
And
other-
what Kurt just clarified there is why they wouldn't have never received a notice from us. They didn't report it to us. I just wanted to get that out.
That
there,
was my
clarify that.
question. And then when they did file, then the county had the right to go back and do discovery of 5 years plus the current year. I'm just, one thing that is in consideration for me is they paid the tax and brought it all current immediately. Is that accurate?
Yes, they paid.
Okay.
They paid the tax and the penalty.
And the penalty. They're just asking for the penalty
They're
back.
So this is a refund. It's a refund of the penalty. Is that
But
right?
not a refund of a tax.
right. But I need to make sure that there's a difference between 381 is different. And I don't think that those requests come to the Board of Adjustment. I mean, I'm sorry, Board of Equalization and Review, sorry. They normally, if you have a refund request, you make the refund request with the county commissioners. So I want to make sure that we get this right. So if you, I apologize.
It's okay. We want to get it right. It's important.
I'm not sure if we can ask this, but you only went back to 5 years because that's what you required. How long prior to that had the business been open and not paying the taxes?
I think that was when we actually opened that location. I can double check that.
They opened in 2019?
That was
We
my
looked
question.
on before that if it was better.
Maybe she would pay the penalty if I went back 20 years.
It's 312 it's 312 is the statute. Yeah, I'm just trying to get there. Sorry. So you have the ability to compromise the tax. So it's basically, there's not really a hard standard. It's basically, is there good cause? Has the applicant shown good cause as a reason for waiving the tax penalties or fees? But I also want to point out that there's a statute 105-308 that talks about the duty to list. So this statute is that and every person who has property shall list with the property assessor within the time allowed. So that's the duty. Any person fails or refuses to list the same within the time would be subject to a penalty. So the only thing I would caution you is to make sure that when you are going to grant something that we're consistent. That's the biggest thing, that we treat all applicants equally. And so that would be the big thing as to whether, the applicant has presented sufficient justification to compromise the tax penalties.
And then in this case, the accountant passed away and the new accountant did their job and filed and paid. So it's all on the shoulders of the past accountant. And you said in the past, they've always had to pay the penalty in discoveries.
I mean, I don't know if any have been.
In prior cases, discovery
Prior
cases. Yeah, I don't remember any of them being forgiven or remedied that way. Yeah. So you pay your penalties as long as a good cause hasn't not been given. So going back to what Kurt mentioned, just making sure that we're consistent, fair, and treating everybody the same. And this type of assessment issue is common in business personal property particularly. So they list late or they don't list at all. Sometimes they do know they need to and they're still late, or they don't list. And sometimes it's cases like this, they just weren't aware. But we do treat them all uniformly. Same process. It's all about process so that we're equitable and fair to everybody.
And I just want to make sure that we're clear. This is a request to waive the penalties only, not the entire discovery, or not the actual business personal property taxes that they owe, just the penalties assessed in addition to, okay.
Any questions or concerns?
Do we vote? Is that what happens?
So I make a motion
Someone
that
makes
we
a motion.
close the discussion so that we can move into deliberation.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Everyone said aye.
So I have a question. Does she then step away from the microphone and then come back when we've deliberated, or does it?
Yeah, she can sit down.
No, I don't mean, I
have
mean our guest.
Well, she's probably going to
appellate.
want to stay and see how you
Gets to
rule.
listen.
Yeah,
Okay.
but she gets to listen to us
Yeah,
deliberate.
no,
It's
yeah,
public.
no, you can't go into closed session
Okay.
to deliberate. You
Okay,
need to
that's-
deliberate.
okay.
It's a public meeting and you need to deliberate in the public. Thank you.
All right, we're deliberating now. What do you
All right.
think?
You had
I-
something you wanted to say. So
Mhm.
Well, I feel very strongly about process and want to be very respectful of the process that the tax office follows to go back. However, I do believe that there are mitigating circumstances in this situation. As soon as this person stepped in and had the responsibility of doing it, they did it. They did it immediately. They paid the taxes and they paid the penalty. It would be my opinion or my suggestion that we look at a way to adjust the penalty by some amount.
Can we do that? Can we adjust the penalty?
Can it be adjusted? It's all or nothing or adjusted? The penalty, all or nothing?
You
or-
all have discretion as to, once again, the power to compromise was delegated to you all. So there is no, unless you all wish to establish one in the future, there is no guide or specific guidance. Once again, I just go back to good cause because that's usually a standard. Is there a credible justification for waiving the penalty? And is that something that you would be willing to do for other taxpayers in similar circumstances?
We have to remember, if we do it now, we continue doing it.
I'm not saying that you have to, but I'm just saying that you're setting a, you're,
Right,
Pre-
and it also
precedents.
depends on the facts as they're presented.
of course, always.
So they're not always the same.
Correct.
The rule that applies would then be if there are alignments in what we use to determine our decision, then we would in fact follow that same protocol.
So what's your thought on the fact that they were that the burden was on them to list the property and they didn't, regardless of somebody passing away or, I mean, just, that's pretty cut and dry.
I would say to this employee that it's the responsibility of ownership to know those things when you go into business and follow those guidelines. It doesn't appear that the folks that were in those positions of authority previously either didn't know or didn't follow the procedure. But I feel like we're penalizing a period of time
Mhm.
for someone that stepped in, did the correct thing, did the filings, caught things current, paid the penalty. And that there is some opportunity to
Yeah,
extend some forgiveness of the penalty.
yeah.
So we're not really penalizing the person that stepped into the position, though. We're penalizing the company,
Correct.
which is still the ones that did that in the past. And like I said, I'm not sure how much before 2019 they started, so how many years prior to that they didn't pay taxes. It doesn't sound, I don't think it was much, but it still would have been some. What are you thinking in lines of compromise on?
My proposal would be a 50% reduction.
That's what I was thinking.
I actually thought of that too.
2.5 years worth of the penalties?
Yeah, for what they didn't do at all.
Mhm.
And then when they stepped in and did the correct thing and brought things current, that the penalty should apply to the period of time where nothing occurred.
So do you want to make that in a motion?
I can.
After after we've talked about it, do we let the county make a statement? No?
Nope, it's really, the ball is in your court once you close that, unless you have any questions for staff or the applicant. You can always reopen and ask your question, but once you've kind of
We're in
done
deliberation.
hearing evidence, then somebody just needs to make a motion and you all vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just.
I'm a little, you all seem like pros to me right now, so I am following suit a little bit and paying attention, but I don't think that any of the penalty should be returned. I think that the penalty should stand in full as it is. I just wanted to bring that up now before we went to an official vote.
I'm actually leaning that way, but if you were wanting to be compromising, I still think half of it's a bit much. Because, I mean, other circumstances with other companies, they're not going to have necessarily that many penalties because they get caught sooner. And to be fair,
Well, and it just seems
yeah,
this seems very standard to me. And
I'm not seeing the good cause to wipe the penalties.
I mean,
No,
it just
you
is
are,
what
yeah.
it is. The penalties, it wasn't paid.
Because I do think
They've
I
already paid it.
Yeah, I understand the person previous was supposed to keep track of it, has passed away and out, but there should have been somebody above them also double checking their work.
I don't think the
Even if it's been low.
change of person in the position has
Yeah.
any weight on taxes not being paid. But I'm also, I mean, I'm open to the conversation and the discussion.
That's
I just wanted to bring that up, that that's my stance on it, but I know we need to be,
Well, it sounds like we could have two different motions. We have to do
Oh.
one before the other.
Well, usually you have one motion to approve, and if that motion fails, then you would make the motion to deny.
does it have to be unanimous?
No, just a majority vote.
Oh, okay, well then,
Right.
okay, cool.
So.
Here's
yeah.
one more element to the discussion, just
Yeah.
food for thought. I know from experience that statutes exist and business owners don't know.
Right.
And until there's an awareness brought to them, there's not always an intentional avoidance to comply with filing business personal property taxes and those kinds of things. I'm not justifying the behavior.
Right, I know.
I do think that they should have paid their taxes, and it appears to me they did.
Yes.
The penalty is in a way of being punitive, even though they did what was right as soon as they caught it and knew. And then we went back and did further discovery to fully understand the picture. That's why I believe that they owe some penalty, because it's their responsibility, to your point. But I'm not sure that we can't find a way to grant penalty, but understand that there may have been extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
So I would like to stand with my motion that Tipperary Sales Inc., DBA Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries be given a consideration of 50% reduction of their penalties and refunded the 50% as calculated.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Beyond what we said, and I don't think.
Okay. All those, are you ready?
Everything to say?
No,
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
I feel so nervous right now. This is so funny. Okay. I want to do it right. You
That's
tell me
okay.
what to do.
This is our first one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, we've not done it for you.
Heather didn't know that till just now.
Right. That's true.
They all know it.
Okay. So
He's going to call a vote.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those not approval of the motion, say aye.
all right.
So it's 3-2.
The motion passes.
The motion passes. Did you get the motion?
Yeah.
Now we've set a precedence. Okay. Do I ask Heather if she has any questions?
Nope, we'll send her a copy of the order. And then if they choose to appeal it, they can appeal it to the Property Tax Commission. And if not, then we will grant the refund.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now we have.
Okay. We have 3 more.
Are we going back up to A?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do now.
Go back to the first one. Airflow Incorporated. Doing business as Airflow Healthcare. Is trying to find his name.
Whose name?
McTeague.
Oh.
Tyke. What I feared the most is pronouncing people's names. John McTagg. Present? Okay. So now we go to the county. We hear from the county.
On March 29th, 2024, the assessor's office received the 2024 business personal property listing forms for Aeroflow Incorporated, doing business as Aeroflow Healthcare. The county abstracts are 796-806 and 308-4091. The signature date on each listing form was March 29th, 2024. An extension request had been submitted in January for each abstract. Therefore, the listing deadline for Airflow had been extended to March 15th of 2024. But we received the returns on March 29th, 2024. So the property bills were mailed in August of that year. The bill for 796-806 included late list penalties of $1,751.43. And then the late list penalties for 308-4091 were $18.64.
They just missed the deadline. Correct?
Yeah. The extension deadline in Buncombe County ends on March 15th unless the 15th falls on a weekend. But these weren't received until March 29th.
So it's not postmarked, it's received.
It is, well, postmarked.
So it was
It would have
postmarked.
had to have been postmarked by March 15th.
Do we know if it was?
It was not.
Okay.
So according to his letter, he just used the excuse he thought it was a different date. I thought it was the 31st. So is it always March 15th?
In Buncombe County, yes. Unless that, like this year, it's the 17th because the 15th is on Saturday.
Okay. Any discussion from anyone?
Seems cut and dry to me.
They just missed the date.
Yeah.
They did make a statement
Mhm.
about,
They thought it was the 31st.
they thought it was the 31st. I'm not sure if this is the one that made the statement, because I read them all, that said other counties have the 31st and our county has the 15th.
Mhm.
Statutes allow the counties to set the date. And Buncombe County has set the 15th of March. I believe that goes out
Might
in
not
the
have,
notice.
it might not have been this one, but one of the four I read that the other counties, and they pay in other counties, and they went by the date, the wrong
for other
date.
counties. Yeah. Some can actually be April 15th. If you file electronically, it can be later than that, but Buncombe County's is set at March 15th.
And how long has it been set at March 15th? Is that,
Eric, do you know how far back? I mean, it's been, as,
Can you answer that question one more time? Sorry.
how long has our deadline been March the 15th as opposed to the 31st or April 15th? It has been.
Oh, goodness. It's always been that way to me.
It's always
I've been here
that
since
way as far as
2015.
when I
Yeah.
was doing the audits.
So,
It
yeah.
was March 15th. And that's been 18 years.
Yeah. It's been some time since it's
Yeah.
been that deadline.
Okay.
So, well, companies have to pay attention to what date is, no matter how many counties, different counties they're paying. They have to pay attention to the correct date for the correct county that they're filing in.
So is this the same request to have the penalties refunded?
They just want the penalty,
Nickel penalties opt out.
they just want the penalties refunded.
And the $19,265.74 that they've already paid included those penalties. Have they already paid the 205 and the 1864?
They've paid everything.
Okay, it's all paid.
Mhm.
Okay,
They've
cool.
paid.
It was just separated out because of
Yeah.
a different
Two
bill.
different abstracts.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they're asking for the $1,700 and the $18 back.
So we do a motion to confirm or deny
Right.
after we discuss, or
We
do
make a
need to
motion.
discuss?
We make a motion and then discuss. Correct?
Yes, once again, you have the option of just discussing, or you can make a motion and then discuss after the motion has been made.
Is this taxpayer not present?
There, present.
I would make a motion, we deny the request.
Any motion made? Any second?
A second.
Second. Okay.
Discussion?
Any discussion about it? Pretty open shut. All those in favor of the motion? Say aye.
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 Would y'all rather do hands than aye?
I'd like
Oh,
to
it's
do bo-
just
I
a
like to
hack.
do
I
both.
just do both.
Well, I think,
Sorry.
I think there's, if we're doing it online, it's probably good that you do it vocally. You could either do it where you all say aye and then you ask oppose, and if we don't hear anything, we'll assume it's unanimous. Or you could possibly do a roll call where you ask, where you basically go down a line.
Yeah.
That's up to you, but I think it's good. It's also helps the secretary or the clerk to make sure that she's able to
So we'll do
reflect
our-
the vote
when we
accurately.
say aye, we'll do our hands also to help out. We'll do both.
Okay.
We'll do
I'm
both.
good. You all, we're just kind of working through. I mean, this is a new board. We're working through our stuff.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you guys are doing
Figuring it
great.
eventually it'll be old hat and we'll be able to just smoothly go through. The first one's rough, but we're good. All right. You ready for the next one?
Ready.
All right, the next one is Radius Chiropractor, PLLC. And they're also doing a penalty appeal. So we'll go to the county, and I've already sworn you in, so you're ready to go.
Okay, on March 15th, 2024, a notice of discovered value was mailed to Radius Chiropractic PLLC stating that the Buncombe County Property Assessment Office received the 2024 business listing form after January 31st, 2024. Due to a late filing, a 10% late filing penalty was assessed. The bill total was $890.07, and the late penalty is $80.91.
Okay. So reading their counter back, Cassandra McKnight especially said they missed the boat. But they just,
It says they needed all the information pertaining to the sale of an asset, which took time to confirm.
right. So when that happens, can they go ahead and file and then file corrections later? Couldn't they?
You can request an extension, right, but not necessarily
Well, they
amendment.
could request an extension until March the 15th.
Right.
Normally, they can list the asset. The county generally would ask that it be listed correctly at the time of listing. I know that they're saying it took extra time to confirm. If it were taxed and should not have been taxed, then we should be able to remove it if it no longer existed, but they
So
can
that's-
still file timely.
Right, that's my question. If they had listed it, which they apparently did, but they filed late
Right.
because they were waiting to assess the value on the listing.
They were waiting to determine whether or not they still had the asset.
So what should they, in terms of time frame, if they're waiting to, I'm assuming they're selling a piece of equipment and they don't want to include it in the tax listing if it's going to sell.
So as of January 1st is when the tax lien date is.
Okay.
So in this instance, it looks like they were needing extra time to confirm it. January 1st, if that asset was there, they would have listed it. If it sold anytime after that, they would not have listed it. So they actually had, January 1st was when they needed to determine whether or not they had the asset.
So if they sold it before March, should they have filed an extension?
They could have
to go
filed an
till March
extension
15th?
until March the 15th and had until March the 15th to find out if the asset
If
was
the
still
asset
there or
was going to
not.
sell?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, if it had sold after January, it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have
If
affected
they
these
sold
taxes.
after
It would have been
January,
the
they would
previous
have to
year's
list it.
taxes.
Yeah, it would be the next
So
year.
it wouldn't
when we
matter.
Remove it.
So they would have known if they had the asset by January 1st, which was before they
Yeah, it
filed.
would have had to have been completely
Yeah.
removed from the business as of January 1st. If it was removed anytime after that, they would still have listed it for this year.
Okay.
That's what I wish they were here to ask, because I can't figure out why they couldn't figure out from January to March, why they didn't have, whether or not
Right,
they had
that's
a particular piece of equipment.
Okay.
I would think you could look up your bill of sale.
And the late penalty is $80.91 that they're, okay.
Any more discussion or ready for a motion?
Ready?
Ready for a motion.
Ready for a motion.
Someone want to make a motion?
Oh, hang on.
Hang on.
Okay.
How much was it?
Tax was $890.
And the penalty
You know, it's
was
10%.
so $80.
Mhm.
And they're asking you to pay
Mhm.
Okay, move on.
All right, she's ready for a motion if someone wants to make one.
I'll make a motion that we deny the request.
I second that motion.
We have a second motion. Any
Further discussion?
further? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that one's done.
Unified Aviation.
One more. Go to the last little purple tab. Unify Aviation. Let's see who is supposed to be here. Sherry Blackwell. Is Sherry Blackwell here?
She's the county. employee.
She's the county person.
I'm now.
Oh,
She's here
That's
instead
me
of
now.
Sherry.
okay. I just looked at who was
That's
signed the
okay.
bottom of the thing
Yeah.
and I looked at the wrong form. I am looking for someone Cooper.
Melinda Cooper.
Yeah, I can't read her first name writing. So this is in Fletcher, still in Buncombe County. All right, we're ready for the county.
On June 20th, 2024, a notice of discovered value was mailed to Unify Aviation LLC stating that the Buncombe County Property Assessment Office received the 2024 business listing form after January 31st, 2024. Due to a late filing, a 10% late filing penalty was assessed. Per the notice, they had 30 days to appeal. The bill totaled $10,673.49. The late penalty is $970.32. And these have been paid.
You said have been paid. So they're asking for the penalty back.
So basically, it looks like just reading their response that they thought it was April 15th because that's when all North Carolina taxes are due. That's what it appears to me.
So
is the main reason.
So it appears to be an accounting mistake by their accountant for dates.
All right.
And that'll be a, how much? $900 mistake.
It's really not that cut and dry.
Okay. You want to point out
It
something?
is.
It's okay.
It's, I do think that there can be, I think it's difficult when there are conflicting dates, without a doubt, or different due dates. It doesn't mean the due dates aren't real and that they don't exist. But they brought it in-house, and the system inadvertently set everything up to be due April 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not our problem either, nor is it the county's problem. But again, I guess if it's a $900 mistake, it's a $900 mistake, but it's, obviously it says the issue of timely filing has now been resolved prospectively with personnel training and software implementation. Despite the oversight in filing within the required time frame, the taxpayer reviewed. So I understand.
Okay.
I would
I'm curious,
assume,
why is, sorry, go ahead.
I would assume that this being our first meeting, that we're going to see this quite often. And to me, this is one that we need to be consistent with.
Mhm.
There's really not that many extenuating circumstances here, so I would certainly motion to deny.
Second that motion.
I agree with that, but I'm curious why, because it sounds like every other county in North Carolina is 415 except for us. That's not your decision, I know. but-
That the counties can choose.
Mhm.
Not every county is 415,
Okay.
just so that you're aware.
Yeah, I was just going with what they said here. I'm just,
Okay, yeah,
because that seemed to be similar to what they said there, but
Yeah.
they had said every other, probably just every other one they work in. I was wondering if that was
Oh.
confusion, but
They're just holding the federal tax
Yeah.
deadline to everything.
Well, I think that's just what's committed to everybody's memory. I mean,
It would be
that's sort
nice
of
if
the
it was all one
D-Day,
date.
due date. So I get it, but then LLCs are due March 15th. So, there's a different date.
Yeah.
and we do, on our returns and on our website, we do state that March 15th is our due date. Just
Oh, yeah, I
just so
think
that you're aware.
And
business
it's
is
been
required
that
to
way
keep track of
for
this.
years, so.
Right. No, I file. I know.
Yeah, we do.
I know.
I do too, every year.
Okay. I'll make a motion to deny the request.
I second.
All in,
All in favor?
sorry.
Say aye. Raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right, that's the last little purple tab.
And then late exemption.
And I was ready to tell, this would have been Melinda Cooper, your appeal is not uncommon to this board.
Oh,
I had a statement
that's nice.
to tell people,
Yeah.
there was more to it. They might be watching. so
Do you want to read
I
it?
could Go ahead and
You
finish.
wrote it.
All right, yeah. All right, we're accountants miss deadlines.
Mm.
And we understand where you're coming from and from in frustration for missing these deadlines. Unfortunately, the penalties apply to everyone that falls within the statutes. Unless there are extenuating circumstances, we may have to side on the side of the county, and we just did.
Okay.
So there's no gavel.
Not yet.
All right, we might have more business.
Yeah,
Okay.
late exemption.
Late
exemptions.
exemptions.
I'm gonna try. Oh, it's on. Here it is.
Oh, they're in the back. I brought mine.
Okay, there are five. 4 elderly and 1 disabled veteran exemption.
On those exemptions, our exemptions manager is not present, but she did tell me those were all postmarked last year at the end of the year, December 31st. So they're valid, they're reviewed, they determined they were good calls, and this is just like the last set that you had to approve, where there was many more.
So the recommendation is that these followed all and
Yes,
should be approved.
yes, it's the recommendation.
Okay. And no one has a conflict with any person on here?
Um,
No,
Mm-mm.
Okay. So all those in favor of,
Yeah, make sure.
Motion.
do we have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Second on motion?
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor of approving the motion say aye.
Should the motion state that we're approving the exemptions as presented?
The motion states that we're approving what's been presented,
Or the
Yeah.
the exemptions?
the exemptions.
Yeah.
The 4 elderly exemptions and the 1 disabled veteran exemption. I don't need to read the names of these people, do I? Okay.
No, you don't.
All right. All those in favor, say aye or raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right.
All right, new business.
We do have some new business to discuss.
Yes, that item is concerning the formal appeal period coming up. So typically the DOR recommends that you convene no earlier than the first Monday in April and no later than the first Monday in May. Typically that date goes from early April to late May. Right now, I would anticipate you'll be hearing some Helene related appeals. It could be a kind of a busy year for a non-reappraisal year for you all. We are sending these notices out this week. We finished that work up, so get that out there. Now, what you do prior to that also is Lindsay's here today. She's with the DOR. And her and Stan will come and they'll do a full charge. And we'll do it in person sometime mid to late March. We'll coordinate that with them, and you'll do that before we hold these meetings. I did want to bring this up on the agenda, so I think the way to do this is do the poll in our email, but I wanted to get it out there so y'all can. If you have questions about the formal appeal period, feel free to ask me right now, or you can also send emails or call.
Are you going to block out the Buncombe County time when spring break?
Yeah, I have to be present, so I do have children in school, so I will be gone that spring break week. So I think it's the
Middle of
second week
April, I think the
Yeah.
16th.
through the 18th. So that would be one that I would ask that you would not pick that week, but other than that, it can be open. And whatever y'all schedule permits as well. So
Will we have a meeting in March?
yes, we'll have to schedule with
With the
Lindsay and
DOR.
Stan to come just do our like a special meeting, just like we did before. No appeals, just come in here and they'll train, or we'll go here or we'll go to a different location. We will be moving to our new office in late March off Woodfin. But I'd say we'll have that training probably here before that.
What are we being trained on in the DOR?
Lindsay is here. She can tell
When
you.
we were here last month, we did,
Could you go and
Yeah,
speak?
absolutely. when we were here last month, we did a condensed version of the full board charge. So this will just be, honestly, we did a lot. So this will just be a few extra slides in addition, just going a little bit more into market value decisions and stuff like that. A lot of the main part of the presentation we did in the first meeting. So it's just kind of a reiteration of what we did in January with a couple of extra things. So it'll probably be the 2 at 3 hour presentation, but it's very similar.
All right.
Sounds okay.
Yes, I was going to coordinate that through an email. Do our voting schedule that we've been using. So.
That doodle thing?
Doodle, that's it. Yeah.
Doodle.
Yeah, that works great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's feels I did. Don't take me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I've liked it before.
So awkward question, but question nonetheless. I think that as a board, we have consideration paid for meetings. That's my understanding.
Yes.
Yes, you
And
are one of the boards that does receive compensation,
Yes, sir.
and it's been that way for a
And,
long time.
yeah,
Well, and I
a
know
long
it's
time.
Negotiated
per
that deal.
meeting,
Ann and
but I
I are-
assume we have to fill out a NC4 and a W4 and,
I'm gonna get you the forms that you need to fill out and let you know that's so
okay.
I'll get that to you.
And it's per meeting, correct? It's an amount per meeting. So to date, we're on our 3rd meeting. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, and I
Second.
can't remember the exact amount. I think it's second, yeah.
Second.
125, I think.
Yeah.
I'll look it
it's-
up.
I thought it was 100. Yeah.
100? Okay. I was trying to give you a raise.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
sorry.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Yeah. Like I said, if you guys have any questions about the formal appeal period that you'll be doing in April through May, just let me know. It's also in the appeals handbook as well. Some more information on that.
We're going to be meeting when it's not here. What's the new place?
We're going to be in over near in 35 Woodfin in that building where we were in previous years. We just in a different location there.
I don't know where you were in previous.
Oh,
years.
okay. So it's the family. Yes, the Family Justice Center's in there.
Used to be
Yeah.
the Stanley Building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
it.
okay.
So, yeah, we're going to be upstairs there. Collections will be downstairs. We'll also have planning and permitting. It's kind of a one-stop shop now.
What's going to
Be
happen to
nice.
this?
I do not know. Don't know. I was just asking Kurt, same thing.
So do you need a motion to adjourn?
That, if you would like to leave, yes.
If
So
we're,
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it. All those approve. All those in favor, raise
Yes,
your hand, say
aye.
aye. All right, we're adjourned.
Right.
Thank you all.
If you want to leave.
The notebooks, you want us to leave the notebooks? Do we just take the material out and put them, how do you want us to handle that?
Oh, we can recycle. Yeah, we'll keep the notebooks.
All right, I'll just put the stuff in my notebook.
We're just local government.
Yeah.
Reuse those.
You want us to take all the papers out? Is that what we decided?
If you want to choose to keep it.
If you choose
I
to
don't
keep
want
it,
to
yes,
keep
but
I've got
leave
copies
them
of
there.
everything else.
It's our type.
I want the exhibits.